Hey guys, we made it to season 5 of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, we aim to empower and embrace creativity through diversity as we dive into the fascinating stories and experiences of a diverse range of individuals, highlighting their unique perspectives and creative endeavors, from artists and entrepreneurs to innovators and activists. We celebrate the power of diversity in driving creativity and fostering positive change. Join us as we engage in thought-provoking conversations like
I made myself intentionally homeless in pursuit of my purpose.
We're aware that a lot of people want to present and they were in my position, and what's worse, they weren't a white male, which is a joke that's even still a thing.
I think my family never ever say you can't do something, so full of support for whatever dream. If I said tomorrow I want to fly to the moon, they'll probably say I wish you all the best, Mel.
So guys, I just want to say thank you for supporting the Us People podcast for the past 5 years, and we look forward to sharing another new theme song with you. Let's go.
I had to overcome a lot of obstacles just to get here.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People Show. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I've got a friend on today. His name's Ed. He's the producer of Black Can't Swim documentaries. He is also the co-founder of Black Swimming Association. Ed, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People Show. How are you?
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. So me and Ed know each other quite well, which is really, really nice. Ed has been kind enough to allow me to come onto his show, and we spoke about stereotypes and so many other things. Ed, my first question for you is, could you tell me a bit about yourself, where you grew up and how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
So where do I start? Okay, I'm Ed Accura. I was born in the UK. I lived here till I was about 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old. My parents are both from Ghana. Dad was a mechanical engineer. My mum's was a nurse, a midwife. They came to the UK in the 60s to better themselves, educate themselves, and that kind of thing. And then they had me. I'm the firstborn. So
Wow.
we were here for, obviously I was born here. I went back when I was 9 years old, went to Ghana. We all went to Ghana. It's so funny because I see a lot of people when they are moving countries or they're going places, and especially people from white people in particular, when they're going, it's all planned. They tell their children, now this is where we're going. We're moving, going here. You pack your stuff. Tell your friends. There's a whole process. With us, it's like my parents was like, "Oh, we're going to Ghana. You don't really need to take much. We're just going to Ghana, so like on a holiday." And so went to Ghana. And it was the longest holiday ever because I was there for 10 years.
Wow.
So went there. So I had all my primary education, my secondary education.
Oh my gosh.
And came back when I was about 18. So that's me. And I've been here ever since.
So it's really funny. You go somewhere for a holiday, you come back 10 years later. But, they always say to me that education is different when you're abroad compared to when you're actually in London, which is really, really true. Because when I was in St. Lucia, education was far more stricter compared to when you're in London. But it all depends on how you've been brought up, whether you've been going to private school and so on and so forth. So it definitely all makes sense to me, Ed. So my next one for you, Ed, is, can you define yourself as a person? But who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to go from a person that you didn't necessarily like within yourself to becoming the person you feel that has value and you wanted to become?
I used to be very shy.
You're not
I
shy
really,
no more, Ed.
no, seriously, I was really shy. I was a really shy person. You wouldn't think so, but I was. And sometimes you can. I think it sometimes it shows. But yeah, I used to be really shy. And when I got to there, I think I was about 16, 17, probably 18. I said to myself, I need to get myself out there. I need to get rid of the shyness. I didn't like it.
Okay.
And I don't know if was lack of self-confidence. I don't know. But I just was, and I just was very, very much of an introvert. And I said, I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this in me. And I can remember I used to work for a company called an IT company called IBM. We were back in, this was in the late 80s, early 90s. And I can remember we were on the sixth or seventh floor. And, so you get in the lift and you go all the way up, and there's other companies on different floors as well. So you get in the lift, you don't know who's going to be in the lift. And I said to myself, what I'm going to do is that when I get into the lift, I'm going to strike a conversation with anybody, whoever's in the lift. It was, and I said, and I bottled out the first time I said, no, I can't do this. But then the second time I said, then I did it. So I said, I can get into the lift. I got to work at 9 o'clock. I said, I'm going to walk through that door and I'm going to talk to the first person, whoever's in the lift. If there's 4 people in the lift, I'm going to speak to all 4 of them. And I did it. And I'm sure people looked at me like, this freak. But it got easier and it got easier. And then I started being able to speak to people, other people, So now I can just walk into anybody in the street and have a conversation with them.
See?
But it took a while for me to get to that stage. But yeah, and a lot of people don't know that. And when anybody who's probably listening to now, they're probably thinking, really? Yeah. Because I can't stop talking now. But I never used to be like this.
It's not, talking, I think, is one of the most beautiful things in life, to be able to articulate yourself in the way that you want to and need to, because everything is about not what you say, it's how you say it to a person as well that resonates with them. So it all makes sense. So, Ed, let's talk about Black Can't Swim film documentary. You have gone through an absolute beautiful journey to starting to document your swimming journey to now letting the world see what you have done, but also culturally make people culturally aware that we need to educate different societies, different cultures to make them aware, and the youth especially, that's how important swimming is and how it can save lives. So talk to me about the process of the reason why you started Blacks Can't Swim, the documentary.
I started the Blacks Can't Swim documentary because my laptop didn't work on holiday. Seriously, it just did. My laptop didn't work, and that's why we're here having this conversation today. I'll blame HP. Yeah, the HP laptop. I'll blame them. The HP, yeah. So I think anyone who looks at me and says, "It's such a nightmare. He's already bugging me. Is this? Is that? And all this." Blame HP. So basically, I'll try and give you a very, very short version of the story. So went on holiday with my wife, my daughter, and a few friends. And there was, I think it was about 12 of us in total. We went to Barbados, and this was 2018. I don't drink and I don't swim. So when we go on holiday, I get bored very quickly because people are by the bar, in the sunken pool and the swimming and all that kind of thing. I don't drink and I don't swim. So it's like, I can only stay outside in the sun for so long by the pool and I just get bored. So I just go into the room. So I took my laptop with me and said, I'm going to make a new album. And because I was working on a jazz, a hip hop street jazz kind of project called Noise, Noize. And I had done 3 albums and I said, I'm going to do the 4th one. So I took my laptop, get to the hotel. The second day in the hotel, I put the laptop on, power, nothing. Tried everything. And it was a reasonably new laptop, so I couldn't just understand why it wasn't working. So I went down to reception, got a different power adapter, tried all sorts of things, nothing. And then one of my friends, Safina, said, I was going to, why don't we do a boat trip? This was my second time in Barbados, because two of my friends are from, they have heritage in Barbados. So, and I went there the first time, really, really liked it. So we went there again. And so they said, let's go on this boat trip. And usually, the first time I didn't go. The first trip I didn't go because I have no interest in water. I can't swim. I could rather just stay in a hotel or just go walk about town or something. But nah. But because my laptop wasn't working and everybody else was going, I said, okay, why not? Might as well come. And my wife, Jake, actually said to me, if you don't want to come, you don't really need to come, on this trip because I know how you don't like water. And I said, I might as well come. So I did. Get on the boat. They gave us all life jackets. Then this same girl, Fina, who planned it, she said, why don't I take a picture of you in your life jacket? And then you can use that. You can use that on one of your album covers. And I said to myself, why would I even think about using a picture of me in a life jacket? Unless, of course, the song had something to do with swimming. Mm-hmm. And I knew about the issue and about water within, or the lack of connection with water within my family and the community at large. So I said, okay, let me make a song. Somebody needs to make a film about this. So I started writing lyrics to a song, make a film called Blacks Can't Swim. And that was the name of the song, make a film called Blacks Can't Swim. And so I wrote the lyrics and all that kind of thing. And whilst people were jumping in, when the boat docked, the catamarans docked, and people were jumping in and out, and I just sat there writing my lyrics and all that kind of thing. Got back to the hotel, and the next day I said, I just can't understand why this thing is not working. This laptop is not working. So I took it and I took the battery power, put it back in and pressed the button, and then on it came. And I go, wow. If this had happened the day before, I wouldn't have gone on that boat trip. And we will not be having this conversation today.
I knew he was going to say that.
So basically I wrote the song. It came back to the UK, holiday over. It's now around about September, October, around about August, September, end of September. And then I put the song out and I get a message from a company called Swimming Nature. And they said, we heard the song and everything you said in the song, is it true? And the song is like kind of tongue-in-cheek, talking about me scared of swimming and all those kind of thing. It was a bit humorous as well. And I go, yeah, I can't swim. And they go, oh, we want to teach you how to swim. And I go, okay. And then they go, oh, but we'll teach you how to swim. We'll teach you how to swim for free. And I go, oh, hold on a minute. I grew up in Tottenham. And if anybody tells you they're going to give you something for free, there's a catch somewhere. So I'm like, why? And they said, because we knew about the issue about the disproportionate amount of Black people that do not swim. We're a white organization. We can't really be talking about it because of the sensitivity. But since you are talking about, we want to prove to the world that it's not a physical thing, it's a cultural thing. Because at the end of the chorus, I said, is it a cultural or physical thing? It's part of the song. And so they say it's definitely a cultural thing. So round about that time, another friend of mine said, why don't you make that film? And I go, I've never made a film before. Where do I even start? But then I know I've made music videos. So Mr. Rex also made music videos. So I went to Mr. Rex. I said, I want to make a film. He must have been looking at me like, this guy, what? This guy is drunk or something. I know he doesn't drink, but make a film. and the rest is history.
See, this is what I like. Sometimes in life, sometimes it's about purpose. Everyone in life has a purpose, and sometimes the universe guides you in a certain way to make things not work on purpose. For you, Ed, it was your laptop. Yeah. But the most beautiful thing is now that I've been there to witness that you have made so many more people in the world aware of swimming. The one thing I do want to talk about, Ed, is the statistics. Because even though me and you've had this conversation before, I would like to share it with the audience about the statistics of cultures that cannot swim or will not swim. Can you break that down for me?
So when I started this campaign in 2018, 2019, the statistics that came out in actually 2020 by Sport England stated that 95% of Black adults in England, 80% of Black children in England, 93% of Asian adults in England, and 78% of Asian children in England do not swim. So basically, those are the statistics. The World Health Organization says that Africans and people of African and Asian heritage have the highest drowning rates.
Yeah.
And we are 3 to 4 times more likely to drown than a Caucasian.
Mhm.
And those are the statistics of 2020. The new statistics came out this year, about 2 months ago, and it's gone the wrong way. So it's now 97% of Black adults in England do not swim. So it's not good.
That's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal number. I thought it would be getting better. Okay, Ed, this is where we're gonna get quite political. So I know we can't necessarily cast blame on
Yeah.
anyone, but is there a way where we can talk about this, where organizations can help and understand what's going on so we can make more people aware and want to learn about swimming? What would you say about the direction of where this is going and where it should be ending up?
So, okay, what I'm about to say, a lot of people may find this disheartening, but I'll say it anyway because it's the truth, and I've been saying this for a very long time. There's a lot of things that have been done by a lot of organizations, the governing bodies, the Black Swimming Association, the education system, the community, swimming pools, the pool providers. There's a lot of things that's been done over the last 5 years. That includes research, advocacy for policy change, customized swimming lessons, water safety training, diversity, equity and inclusion initiatives, and it goes on. There's a lot of things that are happening, and that's great. But what I say, and you've probably seen a number of posts that I've been putting out of late, is that all this is in preparation for the main event. And what main event? What I'm trying to say is that the only way we can change this narrative is by infusing water activities, swimming, into our youth culture. The youth are the ones that are going to change this narrative. I think for majority of us adults, the ship has sailed. Right? We will get a few people that will start learning how to swim here and there. The figures will go from 95%, it will go to 97%, it will come back to 94%, but it will always be around there. To get everybody swimming and make it part, and I'm talking about, look at myself, I learned how to swim, about 3 years ago. How many times do I go swim? Not that many, not many times, because it's not really in my, it's not part of me. I've lived without it most of my life. So, and there's a lot of people in this situation. They will talk about it, they will make the effort to go, but then nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Then you get kids, right, who will learn how to swim because their parents force, we'll say force, that's a horrible word, and encourage them to swim. But as soon as it gets to a point where they don't need to go,
They won't.
They'll stop.
Yeah.
But if it was part of the culture, if it was part of everything they did, and it would change that. And like I said, the parents, the kids now, the 15, the 16, the 17-year-olds, they are going to be the future policymakers. They're going to be and I talk about this with Mike Wallace of Kick Off at 3 all the time. Then they're going to be the future policymakers, future parents. So if it's part of them, then naturally their children and their children and their children are going to are going to be swimmers, or it's going to be part of their they are making it part of their culture. But we have to get the children, we have to get the youth involved in it. But the only way you can get the youth involved in it is if it's exciting to them. Hence, if we can make it part of the culture, then yeah.
You have to make things fun. I remember saying this with you before. If it's education or anything to do with education, could be swimming, science, could be maths, could be anything. If you make it fun, I find that the youth will engage more. Nowadays, it's more about social media. So even if you was to pull it in a form of social media to make it fun for them, then they'll want to engage. The question I have for you, Ed, as well. I know you spoke about families and generations before, but can your family within your immediate family, but also your family now, can they swim? And did they want to teach you how to swim at any point in your life rather than teaching yourself how to swim? Was there a point in time where your parents said, Ed, it's good to learn how to swim? Did they even have that conversation with you?
Yeah, they had that conversation with me. They had that conversation with me all the time. And I always said it, and I've said it in many different places and many different shows, that my mom is huge on water safety. When it comes to water safety, and my mom is massive on it. Her idea of water safety is stay away from the water and you will not drown.
Wow.
And that's basically how I was brought up. So and the thing is that it's all human and all that kind of. But there's a lot of people that still look at that. If you stay away from the water, you'll be okay. Don't go near the water, you'll be fine. And so when we're telling people that, water is, you really need to know how to swim, because otherwise so it's like mixed messages. People say, okay, if water is so dangerous, then I'm staying away from it. And that's how it is. Obviously, we can't stay away from water, all of that, because we go on holidays. There's water all around us and that kind of thing. So it's important we understand the water safety element and all that kind of thing. But it's a big issue, and like I always say, the youth are the ones that are going to change everything. But everything that everyone is doing up until now, like I said, the conversations we have in the governing bodies, the water safety lessons, all the discussions and all that kind of thing, the advocacy and all that kind of a policy change is very, very, very important. It is still very important. So I'm not saying that, everything has to be about the youth. No, we have to continue to do what we're doing right now, because when the youth finally catch on to it and they decide to make it part of their culture, make part of their life, we're going to need, trust me, we're going to need everything and everyone around us to make sure everything stays safe. Because you know what youth are like. They'll be jumping in the water, be doing this, be doing that. So everything that we're doing right now is in preparation for them. It's in preparation. And that's, I sound like some kind of a nut job, don't I? I sound like the end is near. We're gonna do this. No, but seriously, yeah. But yeah, it's I have a strong belief in that, and that's why I'm making this new documentary, changing the narrative, and yeah, it's. But I'm pretty sure we will talk about that at some point. So yeah.
So what I want to try and get into is also, I know you're a big fan of music. Obviously, you wrote a song about, Black Can't Swim, and people are paying attention to it. So let's talk about, you said you had 4 albums. Not even I knew you had 4 albums, Ed.
Well, I had 4 jazz albums, 4 street jazz albums under the name of Noise. I also had I have albums. You go into YouTube, iTunes, you see it's under Ed Accura. And I started with a band called 617, and that was back in late 90s or mid 90s. So I've always had music around, and you can just look around, you can see records, you can see CDs and all that kind of thing. So music is my passion, and always has been. But I think it was around about 2016, I made a conscious decision that if I'm going to make a song, it's going to have to be about some. I'm done with making songs about nothing. I want to make songs about things that will inspire people. And the first project I worked with was in 2016, called the Bearer Witness Project, which was based on the homeless street. So I was walking down. I saw this coat, right? It was I think it was middle of the year or something like that. I saw this. No, it was about September and 2016. I saw this coat and I really liked it, and it was in Next. No, River Island, and it's like this coat that's got this big hood on the a fluffy hood like a lion. But I went to my local River Island, but they didn't have my size. So I was like, okay, I'm going to Tottenham anyway to see my mum. So I'll pass by Wood Green and River Island and see if I can get the coat. So I was walking there and I saw this guy, and it's a homeless person, and he was sitting by just outside McDonald's. And usually when I see a homeless person, I'm just blinded to it. I just walk on by. But for some reason, I was drawn to this guy, so I started to have a conversation with him, and we had a conversation. And I asked him, "Does he want something?" So I said, "I got him something. I got him a meal." He said, he wanted a burger, McDonald's. So I got him something, and then I gave him some. I think I gave him a £5 note or something like that. And he said he used to work in the office, and something happened in his life, and then he turned to alcohol and lost his job, lost his family, ended up on the streets.
Yeah.
So I was having a conversation. I said, "Well, I hope things work out better for you." And I asked him, "So he's a counsel trying to help you?" And he said, "Yeah, but he still falls back onto his old ways." He said, "He's in and out. He goes and then he comes back again. Goes and comes back again." So we chatted and I went. And then the next time, I think it was about a couple of months later, I came down. I was down in the area, so I passed by and there's a shop. There's a clothes shop just now. So I asked the guy, that guy that usually sits down there? And they go, "Oh, he passed away."
What?
I was like, "Oh, okay." And that kind of hit me. And I was like, I can remember I was speaking to him and all that kind of thing. So therefore, I made a song called Bear Witness. You can see it, so you can hear it on YouTube. And Bear a Witness. And basically, and then I started a campaign. And I ran this campaign for 2 years. Tell them, if you see a homeless person, sometimes you only just have to give eye contact. Because we did, in the campaign, we did a lot of, I think quite a few organizations supported us. So we should give, Sainsbury's, food and things like that. In the street, went down Tottenham Court Road because there's a whole lot of
Yep.
And I was speaking to this guy, and he said that it's not the food. He gets lots of food. It's not the drink. It's just sometimes just people acknowledging them, just saying hi. That's it.
Yeah.
He said he can sit there and 200 people can walk by and they will even not acknowledge. Everybody's in the busy, that kind of thing. So we did a campaign, yeah. So going back to your original question, So it's the music has to do something. When I'm making music, it's to tell a story or to encourage, inspire people to do good.
I love the fact that you do that there. I think I listen to more old school music from back in the day than I do today's music.
Yeah.
I just feel like today's music has a lot more anger in it, a lot more anger in it. There are a few artists who actually are making real music, but
Yeah.
at the same time, obviously, being a songwriter, words mean a lot. Words transcend to people. Words connect to people. Words bring people together. So understanding music and making it worth of value is one of the most important things that you can do, being somebody who has the talent to make music. And I find that phenomenal. So let's talk about your documentary for a second, Ed. What was it like actually making, Black Can't Swim and also other things as well? Because it must have taken you a long period of time to be able to do that, to find a cast, to write it as well, to have the talent to be able to write it and pull it all together. What was that all like for you?
So I'll start with the first one, the film called Black Can't Swim. It was supposed to be a very short, it was supposed to be an extended music video, actually. And so I went to Mr. Rex and I said, this is what I want to do. I want to make a film about people talking about their personal issues when it comes to swimming, their life, basically lived experiences and things like that. So I said, so we did it. So basically what we did is we got, I've got a few people around me, mainly friends and family, and then there was 5 questions. Can you swim? Why don't you swim? That kind of thing, and we just opened up a conversation. But then he said, then he showed me. He told me it's going to be about 5-10. It's going to be about 10-15 minutes. I was like, showing how naive I was. I go, 15 minutes. I'm on a proper film, man. And he was like, Mr. X was like, if nobody knows you, you guys are, the people in the film, you're just everyday people. So if you along people, nobody's going to listen to it. Nobody's going to watch it. Nobody, that kind of thing. So you have to have some drama into it. So I said, okay. So I came up with this idea whereby I come downstairs in the morning, come to the living room, put the television on, and then on the news, they're talking about this heavy rainfall and flooding. And because I can't swim, what do? I go out and I buy myself a life jacket, and I wear that life jacket everywhere I go, to bed, in the bath, to wear everywhere. And then my friends are telling me people are telling me what's this? Just learn to swim. And I'm like, but then there's a voice in my head, right, called Mr. Society, which is reciting everything that's like, no, you're black. You can't swim. Wear that life jacket. That kind of, so I'm stuck between my friends and family telling me that stop being an idiot, learn how to swim. And then I've got Mr. Society telling me that, nah, you got those heavy bones, those stereotypes and all that kind of thing. So I'm stuck between those kind of things. And that was the narrative of the story. And then at the end of the story and end of the film, sorry for anybody who hasn't watched it. If you haven't watched it, it's been now since 2019, so shame on you. But at the end of it is the first time I actually got into water to learn how to swim. Actually, at the end of the film. So yeah, but yeah, and obviously from after that, then we had the sequel, which was based on the teenagers, 16 to 25-year-olds, asking them about their personal journeys and things like that, and then Rewind, which was the last one.
So talk to me about your new one. I know you touched base on it, and I know that you've had, funding for it and so on and so forth. So talk to me about your new one and why you decided to go forth and do this one as well.
So and at the wake of the year, I said to myself, I have been doing this for 5 years.
You have.
I made 3 film documentaries, all funded by myself. Every single penny that's gone into it is from my day job and such. And it's like I've put so much money, I've sacrificed so much time with my family, my friends, because I'm doing everything. My whole life revolves around the issue with a disproportionate amount of Black people and Asian people that do not swim. So it's like everything. It's like it's almost like as if I'm losing out. I've put everything to the side. Apart, obviously, in my day job, I have to do that because otherwise, that's where the money comes from. So I have to spend. But other than that, it's like I look at my friends right after work. They sit down. They just listen to music. They do this after work. After another job, I'm just getting this. I'm doing this. I'm doing the campaign. I'm doing this. So I said to myself, I need to understand what impact the last 5 years has had on the situation with diversity in aquatics today. So basically, what has changed? Has it made an impact? And if it hasn't, then maybe I need to change the strategy or something like that. So I said, okay, I'm going to make a documentary, but this documentary is going to be a collaborative one.
I like that.
So when I say collaborative one, I'm talking about the sector and the community. And I said to myself, the only way I can tell whether people are supporting me and supporting what I do or not is by doing a crowdfunding campaign. So I started a crowdfunding campaign, which is it started, I think, about 2 months ago, and it's ending now, but it's still running, so people can still, if anybody's listening to it, they can still contribute to it. But I said to myself, I want to see who supports me and who doesn't. So I made it very clear that it's not necessarily about how much you contribute to it. It's just about. I had a friend of mine come to me and said, he goes, Ed, I'm not working at the moment. I really want to support you, but I've only got £5. And I said, thank you. And that meant so much to me.
See?
Because it's not about, like I said, I am going to make this documentary. Whether I make £1,000 from the crowdfunding or I make £50,000, I am making the documentary.
I like that.
So first and foremost, I spoke to a lot of people. I sent messages to a lot of people within the sector, within this aquatic sector, saying, "This is what I want you to do. This is what I want to do, and are you going to support? And if you are going to support, this is the time." And I did to the community as well, friends and all that kind of thing. And I ain't gonna say much, but there's a lot of people that were like, I heard things. I heard things saying, "What's Ed doing? Why is he doing this? Why is he, And people look at me as a troublemaker because I open my big mouth and I think I'm making up for lost time. Because remember at the beginning of the conversation, I said
You were shy. Yeah.
I think I'm making up for all those years. So I'm just going on and on, blah, 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 swimming this and this and this and that kind of thing. And so there's a lot of people who probably don't want this documentary to be made. So initially, what it was going to do, this is what I was going to do. It was going to be the first half of the documentary is talking about the campaign, everything that's happened over the last 5 years, that kind of thing. Then we pause and we look at where we are today. And then the next half of it is basically, what do we do? This is the information we have now. How do we change that narrative? But because I had very little support from the sector, and I've said, okay, so I'm not going to bring the sector in to come and talk about, because obviously they're not interested. Because people are not interested in. So I said, okay, fair enough. So I'll change the strategy. What I'll do is I'll make the film documentary, and it's probably worked out for the best. I'll make the film documentary about the youth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when I say about the youth, the what do you call it? The narration, the music, the everything will be done by the youth. Obviously, I'll be in there, and a few of the people in there, talking about the campaign and where. So it's almost as if we're handing the baton on over to the youth. This is what we've done after. Take it and make it your own, because that's the only way we can change this narrative. And the thing is that I can only say so much, but the youth understand the youth. Mm-hmm. So the youth making this document. So basically, obviously, we know I'll be there, and we are from the back. But the youth are the ones who are going to be the shall I say, the forefront of they're going to be running the documentary. So they're going to be, like us, doing the interviews, being interviewed as well. And that's how I aim to start changing the narrative, because I always say it's the youth that are going to make this change.
That's true, because they're the next generation. Yeah. And without them, we can't make a change. And what they learn from us, they'll most probably bring to the next generation. Yeah. And it will flow onwards and onwards in that way. Unless, like I say, choice, where they decide I want to change things and be different from the previous generations before. So one of the things I do want to do, Ed, is sometimes I like making provoking conversation. I remember.
You haven't done this so far.
I've done a little bit, but not as much as I should have. Normally, I do it a lot more. But today I've gone easy. But
wow.
So you spoke about people not wanting to support you, right, Ed? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you want to name anyone or anything, because I know that can be trouble. But at the same time, the question that I do want to ask is, why would they not want to support you? Why would these organizations and these people not want to, support something that is going to help the world? It's not just going to help one or two people. It's going to help cultures. It's going to help societies. It's going to make people more aware. It's going to let people know about safety. Why do these organizations not want to help you, Ed?
I think you're asking the wrong person. I have no idea. Someone said to me, Ed, you're walking around with a target on your back. And I go, why? And they go, well, people are not happy. people are not happy about this documentary. People are saying that, oh, he's Ed. He's only doing this to stay relevant. Stay all this to say that I've spent hundreds of thousands of pounds. Like I said, the free film documentary, they're all on Sky, they're on Amazon, they're on all these places. And they're not making me money. I'm not making my money back on them. But they're, streaming and all that kind. I'm not making any money. I put this my own hard-earned money. I wouldn't. Do you think I'll go through all this pain just to stay relevant? I'm doing all this because because I believe there's something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And so when people say, oh, why doesn't he just stop and go and do something else? No, I'm not going to stop and do something else. This is what I'm going to do. So there's a lot of people, I can't name names because at the end of the day, when the documentary comes out, those that contributed to it, you know, because you will see the names in the credits.
Yeah.
And you only just have to go onto the crowdfunding campaign page, and you will see people who have contributed to it. So, it's pretty straightforward. At the end of the day, like I said, if people want to contribute to it and they believe that what I'm doing and what we are doing is worthwhile, is making a change, then fair enough. But I cannot force anybody to do anything. But the good thing I like about this campaign is that, like I say, I know you get to see those that really stand behind, because for the last 5 years, people say, "Oh, Ed, you're doing an amazing thing. It's great," but there's no what do you call it? There's no ways of telling, whether it's just lip service or they're actually supporting what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But when you put yourself in a situation whereby you're asking people to support you, and don't get me wrong, some people don't have a penny, and I appreciate it, but they will repost it, or they will retweet it, or they will do this and all that kind of thing, and that all counts. It's not only a monetary value that counts as helping, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, when this documentary comes out, it's coming out in September, end of September, ready for Black History Month. But it's gonna be hard. It's going to be, I can't even say, it's going to be groundbreaking for starters. It's going to be groundbreaking. It's going to be very, very confrontational. We're going to say it how it is. I am going to say it how it is. I'm going to talk about my personal journey and all the issues I've come across in the last 5 years: health, financial, pain, and all that kind of thing. Things I've never said before. Things I didn't even say in the book, the visual journey counselor, but I will say it on screen, and it's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of things coming out, but it's going to be, like I say, I can seriously say it's going to change the narrative, because the youth that are going to be involved in this documentary are going to take it to a different level.
See, that's something that I definitely look forward to, and even being a part of in some kind of way. So Ed, what is the best advice you have received from somebody, and how has that helped you throughout your life?
Best advice I've received from someone. I get so much advice. Where do I start? The best advice. The best advice I've received, I can remember, and probably as soon as I come off here, I'll go, I should have said that. I should have said this. Be yourself. Be yourself. Do not try and be someone else.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's someone else has been taken.
Okay.
You are, and that's just be an individual. Be yourself. Be yourself. Don't try. And I think it's very in this day and age of social media. It's very, very, very hard. And I think that leads to a lot of issues with mental health, because it's very, very, and especially as a Black man as well. The odds are stacked against us in many, many ways. And so we try and find exits, we're trying to find ways out and things like that. And I think when you look at this, and especially social media, I have a 13-year-old daughter. And so basically I am very, and luckily Lolita is very, very grounded, and which is good, because I worry, because they're looking at TikTok and looking at Instagram, and they're seeing all these beautiful things and seeing all these beautiful places and all these things and all these people are talking about this thing. So it's easy for you to sit down and say, what am I worth? Listen, I've got somebody, a friend of mine has posted a picture on social media and has got 1,000 likes. I've posted a picture and I've got 50 likes. So people start, judging themselves by likes, and that's what happened. That's what happened.
It's true. No, it is what happens.
And you say, am I worth it? Nobody likes me. So basically, and a lot of people are doing things, changing themselves, doing this, creating this environment, which is not true, And I can remember on that same boat trip, right? And listen to this, on that same boat trip in Barbados, because everybody was out, jumping about, I was now sitting there. These girls came up to, there was about 3 or 4 girls. They came up to me and they said, excuse me, do you mind moving here so we can take some pictures here? And I go, okay. So they, and I think there were 3, 4, 5 of them. So they sat there and they was there and they were taking the pictures in the same way. And they were there for about half an hour. And then I was speaking with them and they were asking, well, what are you doing? What are you writing? I was writing a song and all that kind of thing. So we exchanged Instagram details and all that kind of thing. When I, so when I was going through it and I go, oh, that's the boat we were on. Oh, that's the girls. I was looking at the picture. The picture looked as if it was their private boat and they were the only ones on there. And they go, oh, yes, and all that kind of thing. So you can see they've created this thing that, so it's not real. They created this environment, it's not real. So going back to your original question, you see, I like to go all the way around the houses and all that kind of thing. Going back to the thing, just be yourself. People like you. You don't have to be someone else. You don't have to try and impress by doing this, doing that, and all that kind of thing. Just be yourself. And that's also that you're a decent human being. You're a good human being.
Yeah.
And people will warm towards you.
So I'm going to turn around and say this to you. If you had to choose one track that was the soundtrack of your life, Ed, what song would you choose and why would you choose that particular song? You look stressed.
Okay. Let me see what I can find. I don't know. Oh my gosh.
Okay, he's looking at his collection, guys.
Look at me. That is my very first album.
Like that. That's cool.
Look how young I look there.
Smooth.
Look how young I look there. You see how I try to.
Yeah, you tried to. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, you tried to move it across.
I love Marvin Gaye, What's Going On.
Okay.
What's going on? And I love it because you wake up in the morning and you look outside and you look at the world. And I try and live myself, but I try and be positive, right? I try and be positive in life. But as much as I try and be positive and I try and look at all the good things and all that kind of things, I see that things out there which is not good, I see people hurt, people in pain and all that kind of thing. So I always ask myself, what's going on? What is going on out there? We need to change. Things need to change. And so at the top of my head, I would say Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? And I know probably if you had told me before and you told me that you're going to ask me this question, I would have sat down and I'll be honest. And I know people, when you start to ask people say, oh yeah, this song, no. People usually are given notice before. So they sit down there and they work it out. I'll say this. No, put me on the spot. What's going on?
See, no, that. So let's talk about judgment. We constantly get judged based upon how we look, who we are, and this is why sometimes I like just to hear someone's voice, because you don't necessarily always get judged upon your voice, that the person is just listening to who you are. But if there was no judgment in the world, Ed, what would you do differently within your life and just in general?
if there was no judgment. Okay, so let me just think. I wake up in the morning. I have to think about what I'm going to wear for work. So basically, if I mean, obviously, I have to have my shower because that's a hygiene thing. So, but when it comes to clothes, when it comes to things, there's a lot of things you do, we wear because I know, and I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I dress because I want to dress, it's because of myself," and all that kind of thing. To some degree, some people do, but a lot of people dress because of other people. You dress because of your work, because the perception is, it's a perception and all that kind of thing. So first and foremost, so I would say clothes. That is, if I could wake up and I will not be judged, and I'll go down the street and I'll go to work and I'll go see friends, and there'll be zero judgment. Because that's the first thing people see. The people see you, and I can't change. Okay, I can't change my face. I can't change my, can't change my height, but I can change my clothes.
Yep.
And one thing that people judge you by, and people do judge you by, and I get that all the time. And I on the soundtrack to Black Can's film Rewind, there's a song on there called "Ode to My Mental," which is a personal song. It's a very, very, very personal song about myself. I wrote that. Actually, I woke up in the morning and I was feeling I woke up in the morning, I couldn't sleep, and I was feeling down. So I went downstairs and I voiced my feelings, my thoughts onto my phone. And then later on I said, why don't I put this to a song? So I actually re-recorded it. And then I said, obviously in the proper studio and all that kind of thing. But then it didn't have the feel from the vocals that I did that night when I woke up in the morning, and so I actually used the original vocal from the phone. So when you listen to it, it's a bit cracked, So, but yeah, it's called "Ode to My Mental," and talks about what you call your mental, my mental in the state of mind, the things, personal things. So listen to it when you get a chance. Actually, I'm going to post it on Instagram today. Actually, I'm going to post that song on Instagram. I'm going to post it on Instagram today. So yeah. But I talk about when I go to a shop, right? Sometimes I go to a shop, I dress just like this, and I go to a shop and I'm okay. As soon as I put on a hoodie and I put my head on, I go to shop, I get all these followers. I get a security guard following me. So you see, perception. People look at you and they go, "Oh, he's dressed like that, so he must be that. He's dressed like this, but he must be this," and that kind of thing. So,
See, so Ed, I've only got two more for you, and my second to last one for you is, what was the last time, or when was the last time you felt totally at peace? And the reason why I asked that question is because of the previous question and the way you answered it. So I would just love to know, when was the last time that you felt totally at peace with yourself?
I think I am at peace with myself. I mean,
Like that.
yeah, I think, yeah, I think I know I'm a good person. I know there's a lot of people out there thinking my pain, but yeah, I think I'm a good person, and I'm a decent person, and I'll go out of my way for someone, for anyone, without expecting anything back. So when it comes to be at peace, I think in general I'm at peace with myself most of the time.
Yeah.
Usually when I go to bed and I'm lying down, sometimes what I started doing, or I started, switching off my phone.
She's
If my
good.
if my wife is listening to this, she would probably say, "No, he doesn't." But yeah, because I'm always on the go, always on the go. But yeah, and sometimes I just lie down and listen to me, just empty thoughts and all that kind of thing, and the world can be a beautiful place.
Yeah, it
There's
can
a
be.
lot of noise, but it can be a beautiful place. And when I'm in that state of mind, I'm usually very much at peace with myself.
I usually find the world a beautiful place 4 o'clock in the morning when everyone's still sleeping.
Yeah.
Then I
Yeah,
get up to do
yeah,
yoga or just clear my thoughts. I find that the best time ever when it's like that. So Ed, I've had the pleasure of interviewing you, and before I say my goodbyes and thank yous, I would love for everyone to be able to find you on all your social media platforms and anywhere that you would like people to support you, find you, and also just contact you if they want to know more about you and what you do.
So Ed Accura, you can see the name there. If you type Ed Accura, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, to Ed Accura. Just I'm there. I'm everywhere.
Oh,
And the if you so I'd like you to do me a favor.
okay.
I'll send you the crowdfunding link. So if anybody wants to donate anything towards this great film documentary, which we are,
Let's do this. Yeah,
we
let's do this.
we're in pre-production at the moment. So yeah, and you could be a part of it. So everybody who is contributing to it is part of making history, and this is going to be this is history in the making. We are changing the narrative, and like I said, we will change that narrative. We will those figures that I mentioned, 95% or 97% of black. We are going to change that. Like I said,
Yeah, yeah.
now it might not be today, but we will change that narrative.
It will change. It will change. Ed, make sure you send me that link, and I'll
will.
make sure I pull it everywhere for you as well. So, guys, this is where the time where you can support. I know Ed was also saying, and I would say the same thing as well. We don't always have money to give, but there's always other ways to support. But if you do have money, this is a good place to support and pull it into because, like Ed says, you can make history happen, and you can also educate and tell people that life and things are worth changing. So, Ed, this is where I want to say to you, thank you so much for coming on the Ask People show, being part of something wonderful, educating people, showing your vulnerable side, but most of all, and than anything else, is just being yourself.
Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome, guys. This is where I want to thank you for listening and watching the Ask People show. And please remember, you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer listening to. You can also watch this or listen to this on Apple TV, Fire TV, Freeview, Channel 271, YouTube, LCBN, lcbntv.com. Guys, you can also listen to this on Heart Songs Live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. You can also listen to the Us People podcast, which is aired every Tuesday with a new guest. And you can also watch us and listen to us on Savvy Rox's website, which is my website, or the Us People podcast website. And this is where I say to you guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Take care.
Bus can't swim documentary because my laptop. Seriously, my laptop didn't work, and that's why we're here having this conversation today. I'll blame HP. Yeah, the HP laptop. I'll blame them. The HP, yeah. So I think anyone who looks up and says it's such a nightmare, he's already bugging me, is this, is that, and all this, blame HP.
Redirect this to you, you'll see the power in yes, if you try. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wings fly. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wings fly. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wings fly. I fly like I'm Superman. Spread your wings and let the wind glide you high. We're just soaring through this journey, leaving fear far behind. Our hearts are full of courage. You can win if you try. Redirect the yes to you. You'll see the power.